Test 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to Jerry's Cafe.
We are a destination cafe, and we offer craft food and beverages, meaning we make everything fresh on site when you order. And all of our food and our beverages are prepared and served by adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
And then lastly, just say the name. Tom? There you go. Enjoy. My favorite part of working at Jerry's Cafe is definitely interacting with friends I've met throughout the years and the espresso machine.
My co-founder Amy Philpott and I opened Jerry's Cafe for job opportunities. And a staggering statistic tells us that 80% of adults with disabilities are unemployed. I believe differently, and this is the place where our employees can work and feel proud and contribute and can see that they have value and purpose, and they are given the responsibility that anyone would be given in a job, and we expect nothing less than them to perform at their highest level. So we see great success in every single employee and their independence and their offerings and activities here at Jerry's Cafe.
The large, hot, white chocolate pumpkin pie with whipped cream, it is to die for. It is delicious. It's amazing. Well, the favorite part of working here is that I get to serve customers. I am a cashier. They understand to include people with us with exceptionalities.
I wanted to tell you, I've been watching you today. You're really good at your job. You're doing great.
I always like to serve customers. Customers go first.
We are super proud of our partnership with District 214. District 214 has been a supporter from the very beginning of our foundation, and several of the schools have done fundraising and helped us get our doors open to Jerry's Cafe. Proudly, we have 12 or 13 graduates from the District 214 schools who will work at Jerry's Cafe as our active employees.
This is where we do our salad prep. This is where we make all the salads. And then over here is the sandwich line. This is where we make all of our sandwiches. I have worked here since day one. I love it here. I love my supportive team members, and I like serving customers. Here is one chicken Mediterranean trip salad.
We know that our community members have lots of choices, but we're hoping that you will come and choose Jerry's Cafe.
Thank you.
When you come inside and engage with our employees, you feel a sense of joy, and you will start your day feeling the best way that you can, with a joyful heart and knowing that Jerry's Cafe has provided you with delicious coffee, breakfast, or lunch.
All right, welcome to our 55th year of putting together an incredible community service project through our SOS class here at John Hersey High School. As you can see around me, it is organized chaos, but it is an incredible day for our students to serve our community by packaging and collecting food that's going to be going to local food pantries in our area to support those in need.
We're really happy to be able to do the food drive here at Hersey because it really just brings the whole school together, and we are able to help our community and bring the energy with everyone here.
Take it out.
For the
past, I would say about 2 months, we've been kind of working together with SOS, Junior Leaders, Baseball, and we've all gathered together. We've done bag and tag with collective from communities, and we've all come together, and it's really amazing to see the turnout. And then later on, we're going to be visiting 8 local food pantries, and it's really exciting. We're just thankful for everyone who's helped each other along the way. It's been really fun.
It's a team effort, but it's been so fun.
Prospect Marching Knights are heading to D.C.
We're in Washington, D.C.
Prospect Marching Knights were invited to travel to Washington, D.C. this year for Veterans Day. So we're taking the band out to our nation's capital. We're going to do some great tours of some of the monuments and the museums and a lot of the sites of D.C. But it all culminates with performances on Veterans Day. So we've been working really hard to prepare, and we're so excited for our students to have this opportunity. Throughout the trip, we had a few opportunities where veterans would actually see our group of students out and about and spoke to our students. So in addition to touring these places, our students were able to actually interact with a number of veterans over the course of the trip, which kind of made everything a little more real and genuine and authentic. So our first day in DC was really impactful and gave our students sort of a big picture overview of the city and some of the history, and really set the stage for our performance day coming up. So on Veterans Day, our morning started off with a performance at the Lincoln Memorial. There we were, right on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, facing the Washington Monument. Just a really special opportunity for our students to have a really great place to perform.
It was an honor to perform on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial with the PMK, where so much of America's history has taken place.
The experience was very impactful for me. It was a unique opportunity that I have never had before, and it was something that I will cherish for the rest of my life.
One of our students, Emily Pollock, was also asked to deliver a speech at the Lincoln Memorial.
I've always wanted to help people, so I'm going to serve my country. More specifically, I want to become an officer in the military.
Her speech was really wonderful and got a really great reception at the event. In fact, after the event was over, I had a number of veterans come track me down to tell me how great her speech was, and actually they wanted to meet her and take pictures with her because they were so moved by what she had to say.
My father served in the Navy, and so he instilled in me the value of serving and caring for our veterans and those who serve us. And so being able to thank them today and place medals around their shoulders and welcome them home was really impactful for me as well.
United States Air Force.
It was an honor to play at the World War II Memorial today. It was such an honor because music is a way to share emotions without using words.
Our performances in DC got a lot of really good responses. One of them, a story was told to me by one of our chaperones, that there was literally a Marine veteran who was at a performance at the Iwo Jima Memorial who was literally in tears watching the performance and just expressed to our chaperone how much it meant to him that this group of teenagers from the Chicago area had come out there and was performing, and he was just really moved by it, and I thought that was just a really neat story to hear coming out of the performance. So any trip like this takes a lot of time and energy to put together. I feel really fortunate that our school was very supportive of this endeavor. We had a bunch of parents who traveled with us and did anything they could to make this a great experience for our students. I'm so glad we were able to bring our students to DC. Veterans Day seemed like a perfect time to bring them, and it really, just in the end, I think the whole trip turned out really, really great, and I'm so happy we were able to make it happen.
We're super excited to have the 9/11 Never Forget mobile exhibit here at Hersey High School. As the truck arrived, we had Hersey parents out front with some patriotic balloons. We had Hersey students lining the sidewalks. We had some, mini American flags like they would show on the honor flights. The spirit was high.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the Stephen Siller Tunnel of Towers mobile exhibit. We have a 50-foot trailer, approximately 1,100 square feet exhibit. We travel our nation to commemorate the brave sacrifice of the firefighters, police officers that gave their life that day in the greatest rescue and recovery effort in our nation's history.
The reason we're here is at Hershey High School to come educate
our youth on the happenings of that day, but also the happenings of the days after, and to let them know that it was a huge tragedy. It was the single largest loss of life day we've ever had. It was also the largest rescue we've ever had as well, but just all the good that has come from that tragic day. And they're going to learn things that they can't read about. They're going to hear stories that some have never been told, some have been told many times.
Steven Siller was one of the 343 firefighters that died that morning. He was getting off duty that morning. He was going to play golf with his older brothers, heard the plane strike, heard on the news that the plane struck the building, turned around, drove back to his firehouse, Squad 1, located in downtown Brooklyn. They had already been dispatched to the disaster. He got his gear, drove his own truck to the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, where he donned 60 pounds of gear, ran 2.5 miles through the tunnel, mustered up with the rest of the firefighters, and gave his life that day, honoring his oath that he took to protect life and property.
So this is about remembering. So we want people to remember, obviously, for adults to remember and for the kids to learn. So we don't want this forgotten. It's not taught in most schools in America. And they have the privilege of talking to people who are there. You know, we can't talk to people who were in the Civil War or these other moments in American history, but they can. And I think that's pretty special. Thanks for having us, and this means more to us than you. This means a lot to these kids. And these kids would be great. They're very respectful, they listen. It's nice to see.
A special thanks, especially to the FDNY crew, to the Siller Foundation, to Soldiers Journey Home, to District 214, to all of Hershey. I'm grateful for everybody. A special shout out to Bill Dustin for the Magic Spirit. Special shout out to Chief Harris, Arlington Heights Police. The coolest part about this project was there's like a whole bunch of people that were on it and did it. It wouldn't have happened without a whole bunch of people. The list is just too long, and to me, that's actually a good thing to celebrate.
This is the Rolling Meadows Band alumni event, so we decided to get the band back together. This year being the 40th anniversary of the Jazz and Meadows Festival, so it was kind of an opportunity to, hey, can we bring people back at homecoming? I had talked to some of the previous band directors, so that's Len King in the 70s, 80s, early 90s. We have Bill Jastrow and David Boggs from the 90s, and then of course Chris Booty, who retired several years ago. Those people set the foundation for everything that we have here.
I'm giving you 100. Oh my God, look at you.
I'd have paid money to be here tonight. I really would have. It's one of those things I'd pay money to be here. This is the band reunion where your closest friends were really at in high school. And so you're with your closest friends and regrouping after 40-something years and going, holy cow.
Yeah. Mr. King is the reason why I'm here today, not just at the school, but what I do in life. I owe everything to Mr. King. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have gone to college. And if I hadn't gone to college, who knows what I would be doing.
You know, some of the stuff that we're doing right now is like we never stop doing it, you know, just to be around these guys again and just hanging out. 40 years seems like a long time, but it seems like it's kind of a short time too, you know.
This is fantastic.
Of Education for Thursday, July 10th, 2025. Ms. Marini, could you please call the roll?
Baldino? Here. Chung? Here. Dustling?
Here.
Fiorito?
Here.
Heineman?
Present.
Sager?
Here.
And Kreutzer?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to go into closed session for the purpose of discussing the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in an educational setting, or legal counsel for the public body, and setting a price for sale or lease of property. Motion and a second, please. And please say your name.
So moved, Fiorito.
Second, Chung.
Call the roll.
Fiorito?
Yes.
Chung?
Yes.
Baldino? Yes. Dustling?
Yes.
Heineman?
Aye.
Sager?
Aye.
And Kreutzer?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We are now in closed session and hope to reconvene at 7 o'clock. Thank you. Okay, great. We're back in open session, and we're ready for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pardon me? Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Is there a board member that would like to remove anything from the consent agenda?
President Kreutzer, I'd like to pull the Now Arena contract.
Thank you. Okay, 1031 is pulled. Anyone else want to remove anything else from the consent agenda? Okay, can I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
So moved. Fiorito.
Second, Chung.
Call the roll, please.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Baldino, yes, Dustling,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Sager,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and a second for approval of the June 26, 2025 open and closed meeting minutes?
So
Motion.
moved.
Second, Baldino.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Heineman.
And the second was Baldino? Yes. Heineman,
Aye.
Baldino, yes, Chung,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Sager,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. It is now time for public comments, and before I have two people that have signed up, so I will call the first person after I read this. The Board of Education and the district value comments from the community at our meetings as well as emails. We appreciate everyone appearing before the board and treat all with courtesy and respect. The Board of Education asks each person to please limit all of their comments to 3 minutes. However, if several people want to address the board on similar topics, the board president may limit the time to 2 minutes per person. The public comments agenda item will be the only time that the Board of Education will hear public comments during meetings. Although comments may be made on most any matter related to the operation of schools, comments will not be allowed identifying individual students or staff members. As this is the Board of Education business meeting, the board practice is not to respond to public questions or comments at this time because this is not an open-ended forum. However, we do listen carefully if requested. A written response will be provided. Please ensure that Ms. Marini has your full name and address on the sign-up sheet. Let's see. To be fair and consistent to all addressing the board, the same protocols and procedures must be in place for everyone. Let's see. Halbert Katzen? Okay, the green light indicates your time has started, the yellow indicates 30 seconds remaining, and the red light indicates 3 minutes have expired. So if you could state your name clearly for the minutes, I'd appreciate it.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Do you want me to spell it and so forth? Halbert Katzen, Katzen.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I drove 6 hours to be here for this because probably more than anyone else on the planet, it's my job to respond to issues regarding what the Urantia book teaches about race and genetics and eugenics. I've been a reader for over 40 years. My educational background is in law and comparative religion. About 20 years ago, I started creating study aids that show how new discoveries and scientific advances are increasingly supporting the version of history in the Urantia book. This led to doing an extensive review on its teachings about race and eugenics as a separate standalone topic. One of the first things I want to mention to help clarify how wrong this has all gone is that the publications in the prospect and the podcasting suggest, for instance, that the Urantia book is against the races mixing. If you search hybridization in the text, 4 paragraphs come up, and all 4 of them speak positively about racial mixtures and how the secret to new traits is in that, and it's part of God's design, and it's 4 square behind it and offers some wisdom about how we can do it better or worse. So the notion suggested in the piece that Dr. William Sadler wrote the book and that he was against racial mixing and that therefore, by implication, the Urantia book must be against it too is just flat out wrong. It's highly irresponsible degree of research on the topic, and this needs to be acknowledged. Other things that were very concerning were the way the quote-unquote expert referenced was one that was associated with some personality cult out in Arizona that is considered at distance from the general Urantia community. It would be similar if someone went to an expert about the Moonies to learn about Christianity and tried to imply that the Mooney personality cult was a good and reasonable example, and an expert on that would be an expert on Christianity too. There's all kinds of logical fallacies, and it really concerned me that after this was published, the adults reviewed it and celebrated the work and made a recommendation to take Alvin Kulicki's name off the theater. Whether you take his name off the theater or not is a very minor point compared to whether or not good journalistic practices are in place and review processes, and that's really what my concern is here, is for your district and how it's educating the youth about the responsibilities regarding journalism. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Lee Bennett. Okay, thank you. I'll go this way.
Hello, Superintendent Rowe, board, and staff. I'm Lee Bennett, a District 211 resident. I'm here to advocate for adding a 4th boys volleyball team to MSL competition. The MSL, Mid-Suburban League, is the local interscholastic conference for our 2 districts in Barrington High Schools. Since tryout data isn't available, tonight we will review a more indirect measure of how many boys are willing to commit to playing volleyball for their school. Summer camps are highly recommended for the students interested in playing on the school team, but cannot be required. The provided spreadsheet compares camp participation over the last 3 years to the roster space for MSL competition. The team sports are listed on the left. They are sorted by the colored-coded column in the middle, which is the ratio of teams' worth of summer participants divided by teams of MSL competition. The surprisingly difficult determination of a team size for each sport is on the right-hand side of the chart. Let's turn to the sheet to see how boys volleyball ranks on this metric. Boys volleyball has the highest participation rate for any 3-team sport. If a fourth team were added for boys volleyball, it would be the median sport on this list, still ahead of all other sports with 3 or fewer teams. This summer-based participation metric may favor baseball and other outdoor sports, as the outdoors are more conducive during the summer. In summer, many volleyball players prefer to play outdoor sand courts over being in the gym. Adding a fourth boys volleyball team is reasonable based on this data. The case is much stronger in District 211, where boys volleyball teams is in 4th place, only behind sports with 5 teams and ahead of one of these. Your summer camp's participation rate is much higher than District 211, indicating wider participation than the interscholastic sports program. Your summer camp participation is even greater than shown, as this report filters out students not yet in high school. I applaud the greater participation the summer camps provide, but District 211 data is a better predictor of interscholastic sports participation. This can be seen with girls basketball, where despite very high summer camp participation in your district, schools struggle to field all 5 teams during the school year. Please improve the MSL by adding a 4th boys volleyball team. Brief comment on another topic. Let me commend the Now Arena as an excellent venue. My youngest son's graduation there last year was well produced. From backstage, I also saw the Now Arena staff do a great job hosting the recent Volleyball Nations League men competition. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That concludes the public comment section. And now we have report business services. Dr. Attaway.
So included in your packet tonight is an annual report to the board of all of the gifts received by the district in school year 24-25. They totaled $154,728, and they are listed in the memo attached.
Board members, any questions? Okay, thank you. Let me see. Board updates. Mr. Dessling, you have any updates?
No, I don't.
Okay. Ms. Baldino?
I just wanted to say that I was at the Arlington Heights 4th of July Parade, which is one of the largest suburban 4th of July parades, and it was such a delight to see our bands represented, our marching bands participating from across the district, doing an excellent job in quite a lot of heat. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fiorito?
I attended the Mount Prospect Village Committee of the Whole meeting. It happened to be in my backyard on Tuesday. One of the things that really made the meeting very good was that Maria Brower-Zeller, who's the supervisor of the Wheeling Township, came and did a 10 to 15 minute presentation to the village about everything that the township does. And to be quite honest, going into that meeting, I was always a township naysayer. But after that presentation, it really, I didn't realize everything that they do. So just as if it's a future topic or whatever, I think that inviting maybe the Wheeling Township Supervisor Maria and the Elk Grove Township Supervisor John Scaletta to one of our board meetings and have them tell us what they do, because it just doesn't impact the seniors, which are stakeholders in our community, but it also impacts the kids as well, which are our students. So I think a 5-minute presentation from each of them, because they are the 2 biggest townships, maybe the only 2 townships in our District 214 map. I think it would be well worth the board to hear it, and I think it would be interesting to hear what they do for our stakeholders and our students. Thank you.
Thank you. A number of years ago, as a member of the Elk Grove Lions, we went to the Elk Grove Township to hear a presentation, and yes, you'd be surprised how many services they provide. Dr. Sager.
Nothing to report since last meeting.
Dr. Chung.
I actually just want to piggyback on what Mr. Fiorito said and flip it. I think maybe an opportunity for District 214 could be to speak at an upcoming Committee of the Whole Village meeting, whether by Mount Prospect or any of our neighboring. I know you've already done this, Dr. Rowe, but specifically since the the committee of the whole meeting from Mount Prospect. That could be a great opportunity for Dr. Rowe to share about all the things that are going on in the district, with the strategic plan, but also our building needs, just to familiarize the residents with what's happening.
Thank you. Mr. Heineman, any report? Okay, great. So now we move on to the consent agenda, and can I have a motion and a second, please?
So
Motion.
moved.
Second, Baldino?
There's been a motion and a second? Yes. Please call a roll.
Heineman,
Aye.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Sager,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
So now we go to the consent agenda item that was moved, 1031. Motion and a second. Dr. Chung, you want a motion, please?
So moved.
Second, Fiorito.
Motion and a second. Dr. Chung.
Yeah, I know we discussed this at our last meeting, but since then, I know all of us have received at least some feedback from stakeholders about the potential venue change. So first, I just want to say thank you to everyone on behalf of the board, everyone who reached out, whether by email or took the time to call us just to share their feedback. We really appreciate all of your perspectives, so thank you for doing that. Second, I know that a lot of school districts have moved to holding their graduations at a outside venue. There are definitely pros and cons. The Now Arena, as we discussed, it offers more space. It's better equipped for accessibility. Obviously, it offers protection from the weather. But as a lot of people shared, you're losing what is a very meaningful and special way to commemorate your graduation when it's held at your school, someplace where you've built 4 years of memories. So I just want to reiterate for me, I am comfortable with this 2-year contract with the Now Arena, especially if we maybe think of it as a trial and make it a point to share with the community that we do definitely want to hear their feedback after the ceremonies to see what could be improved, what they liked. And then lastly, exactly what we said at the last meeting, to offer something to our families in terms of taking photos at the schools or on their football stadium so that they can commemorate it at the school.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
I just chime in and say I appreciate you sharing that perspective. I did receive a couple of emails that board members forwarded to me, and I appreciate the people that reached out and advocated for their belief that definitely does not land on deaf ears by any means. And the theme was wanting to maintain that ability to come and take photos with their family and friends at the field. And we will work with our principals to ensure that opportunities like that exist.
Mr. Fiorito.
I just want to touch upon a little bit what Vicki has to say. With a lot of those emails that we did receive, I'm very sympathetic to what many of them were saying. The one area that I did want to point out that for me, I was really not so much a supporter of Now Arena because I thought from a district perspective that the costs would outweigh what we currently do today. But as we found out, it would be even cheaper to go to Now Arena. We're not talking, millions of dollars that we're saving, but we are saving money, so we are being good stewards of the financial purse. I do like the idea of the 2 years and just, making sure that this is what we want. But I have done 16 graduations, 13 middle schools at Hersey, in a very hot, uncomfortable gym, and that's for a middle school that's less than half, maybe even a third of what the Hersey student body is. And I've done 3 District 214 graduation ceremony. One was at Hersey my first year in freezing weather, which I sat next to the flag and got hit in the face a million times, and everybody froze. The second year at Wheeling was beautiful, and then last year at Rolling Meadows, we all know what happened with the weather. And it was sad. Mary Kay can probably speak to it as well. It was sad walking into the arena and seeing people turned away. I mean, we physically saw people that had tickets to go into the gym, being told they had to go to the theater. And it's very easy to say, well, you can send these people to the theater and they still get to have the experience. But for me personally, I would want to be in the gym to see my kid walk across the stage, not on the theater screen. So. And the other thing that comes into play too is with the weather, they all did an amazing job in the turnaround. The turnaround that they had to do on such short notice to move everything indoors had to be incredible. And I'm sure it had to be disruptive to the schools as well. I don't think people walking through the buildings with chairs and everything else, just, nobody pretended like it didn't happen. So as I am sympathetic to all the people that did reach out, and I get that experience that they had, to me right now, it is a necessity for at least the next 2 years to avoid what we experienced last year, or this year, and what we experienced 3 years ago. So that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, so I just wanted to reiterate, because I've seen it come up as more and more people have paid attention to this, that it is actually a slightly lower cost for us to transfer to the Now Arena. There's the downside of losing some of the tradition that we have, but this guarantees those dates 2 years out. And I just wanted to note the reason why we have the one set of dates next year is somebody else has the week after, when we would typically, the week where we would typically.
Correct. The
Yeah.
2026 dates were the only dates that were available to us. In the 2027 dates, there was a district that was either leaving the Now Arena or changing dates for some reason. So some earlier dates that are closer to our typical graduation date became available.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate next year we wouldn't have our typical week.
Agreed.
But it locks us in the future of getting that week back at the Now Arena.
Agreed. And our ultimate goal is, should we look to extend this beyond 2 years, would be hopefully to get a Saturday and Sunday where it's a weekend for all 6 schools.
Thank you.
So, having been around for a few graduations, I can remember one, board member Lenore Begraw, she was down at Elk Grove. And in the middle of it, it stormed. And they all had to move inside. Now, I want you to think about how that took place with all these people that didn't have tickets in the stands. Now they're going into the gym. And it was the year I think your son graduated. We were at Hersey. We were outside. Is that right, Frank? And it was gorgeous.
No, that was the year before.
Well, but it was nice because you sat with your son outside and last year was a gorgeous time, weather, but weather is just unpredictable. And I know there have been many times where we've had to switch from outdoors to indoors. And I like the fact that you probably don't have to limit tickets for the Now Arena. But anyway, okay. Call the roll.
Chung,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Dustling, Heineman,
Aye.
Sager,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. So now we have some roll call items. 1111, motion and a second, please.
So moved, Sager.
Second, Chung.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Sager,
Aye.
Chung,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Sorry. Motion and a second for 1112, please.
So moved, Fiorito.
Second,
Second, Bal-
Sager.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Call the roll.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Sager,
Aye.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye, thank you.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay.
11.1.3, I make a motion to have the board approve Board Education President Alva Kreitzer's nomination for Vice President of the Illinois Association of School Boards.
Second, Chung.
I didn't. There's been a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Sager,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries
I'll let you know
7-0.
about September 1st. Thank you. Okay, 1114, please. Motion and a second.
So moved, Chung.
Second, Baldino.
Dr. Rowe.
All right. In February, a student contacted Prospect High School administration to share what she had learned while researching the named facilities at Prospect High School. This research shined a light on historical information associated with the name of Prospect Theater, which are not in line with the beliefs of Prospect High School or District 214 today. In response to those findings, district administration began evaluating our process for naming and potentially removing or changing a named facility. We constructed a process that did not exist that was used in this situation. Following the research period, Mr. Mentor, principal of Prospect High School, convened a committee of veteran staff members from a cross-section of departments, some of whom were Prospect alumni. After reviewing the research and details, this committee made the recommendation to the District Executive Council that the theater should be renamed. The District Executive Council evaluated the information and supported the building recommendation. I highlight this process because I think it is important for you to know that we have invested a thorough evaluation of the facts and considered the impact of the decision before you tonight, and don't make this recommendation lightly. As you know, we believe strongly that every student should feel welcome, as if they belong, and feel seen in our schools. While we do not pretend that we don't achieve this with every student every day, we are committed to pursuing that end. Therefore, I'm bringing the recommendation of the District Executive Council before you this evening to change the name of the theater at Prospect High School and protect that welcoming environment that we seek for every student. If the board supports this recommendation this evening, the theater will be referred to as the Prospect Theater moving forward. Happy to open the floor for discussion.
Board members, any discussion? Dr. Chung.
First, I'd just love to thank Sage Gilliland. She's the student journalist who brought this issue to light. Just incredibly proud of her investigation and the research she did. For me, I agree, renaming the theater, the space as Prospect Theater is the right decision. I fully support that recommendation. I could understand how some might feel some hesitation, and I would respect that, but I see it's not about discrediting anybody. It's about recognizing that names on public spaces have meanings. And when we hear from our students that a name on a space makes them feel unwelcome, then we take those concerns very seriously. And I do want to also thank administration for handling this very thoroughly and carefully. I appreciate that the district did not rush into this decision, that you did exactly what you said, Dr. Rowe, so I wanted to highlight that. So again, yeah, I completely support renaming the space as Prospect Theater. I think that's the right move to reflect the inclusive environment that we're trying to build.
Board members, Mr. Dusling.
I have all the information I need to vote.
Ms. Baldino.
Yes. So both of my children graduated from Prospect High School. And were very involved in the theater programs. The two of them probably walked past the name on that theater dozens and maybe hundreds of times. And we had no idea about the history, or never really understood who Mr. Kulicki was, or about his background with this movement. But to quote the great Maya Angelou, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. And this is the right time. We know better, and we can make a move that will help all of our kids feel welcome in our district, which is critically important.
Anyone else?
Yes, I just want to re-echo what was said previously. This isn't a disparagement of the individual whose name is on there now. It's not saying anything about their time as an employee in the district. It's just about making sure that when we're honoring somebody on a space, on one of our buildings, that it matches making our students feel welcome, and making sure that what they perceive about that person and how that person's name connects to them is something that we can be proud of, and just making sure that they're comfortable with it. It's not a judgment on that person or on the movement they were part of. It's just understanding that that level is a different level. So it's not this isn't a court of law. We're not judging anybody on anything. We're just saying the standard's higher for a building name or a theater name.
Anyone else? Call the roll, please. Oh, wait, I have a comment. So we have new administrative procedures regarding naming, yes? Okay. Go ahead.
Dustling?
Pardon?
Let's vote, Bill. It's a vote.
11-1-4 vote.
Did everybody else vote?
Yeah.
Yes.
Fiorito?
Yes.
Baldino?
Yes.
Sager?
Aye.
Chung?
Yes.
Heineman?
Aye.
And Kreutzer.
Aye, thank you.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, in line with some of the statements that the board members have made, I just wanted to expound upon that just a little bit to be sure that we are making the proper separation between Mr. Kulicki, the employee who earned the honor of the name in the early 1970s, and the decision that was just made. I just want to highlight, Prospect High School's history was shaped by dedicated leaders like Mr. Alvin Kulicki, the school's first principal, who welcomed its first class of 850 freshmen in September of 1957. World War II veteran, Mr. Kulicki began his District 214 career in 1946 as a chemistry teacher at Arlington High School after serving in the Army, where he taught radar and electronics. He worked tirelessly with staff to prepare prospects for opening and guided the school through a period of rapid growth, helping to establish its academic and athletic identity. The honor bestowed upon Mr. Kulicki was well-deserved. At the same time, we recognize that our understanding of inclusion, belonging, and leadership has evolved since Prospect first opened its doors. While Mr. Kulicki's professional contributions to the school's founding are a permanent part of Prospect's history, we also acknowledge that personal beliefs or social norms from earlier eras may not reflect the values of our school community today. Our commitment is to ensure that Prospect remains a place where every student, staff member, and family feels welcomed, supported, and seen. Nothing can take away the educational legacy Mr. Kulicki left behind, but it is equally important that our school's symbols and recognitions align with our mission to foster an inclusive and forward-looking environment. I understand the belief that honors given in a different era shouldn't necessarily be removed as times change. At the same time, I deeply believe that all students deserve to feel welcome and represented in every space in our schools. I would hate for any student to feel less than welcome in a space because of the message a name might now represent, even when the original intent was positive. The perception that has formed cannot easily be undone and may continue to have harmful impact. This action should not diminish the impact Mr. Kulicki made, and we will continue to honor his role in shaping Prospect's early years as an active display on the walls in the history of the school. But we are equally committed to ensuring our present and future reflect the inclusive values that we uphold today. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rowe. We'll move on to 11-2-1, accounts payable. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved, Fiorito.
Second, Chung?
Discussion? Call the roll.
Fiorito?
Yes.
Chung?
Yes.
Baldino?
Yes.
Dustling?
Yes.
Heineman?
Aye.
Sager?
Aye.
And Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Motion and a second, please, for 11-2-2.
So moved. Heineman.
Second, Baldino.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Heineman?
Aye.
Baldino?
Yes.
Chung?
Yes.
Dustling?
Yes.
Fiorito?
Yes.
Sager?
Aye.
And Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
He has to state the motion first. He has to state the resolution first. Okay. Can I have a motion and a second for 11-2-3? Mr. Fiorito, please.
So moved. Fiorito, sorry.
Can you state the motion, please, and the price?
The motion is the approval of resolution authorizing the sale of 2123 South Arlington Heights Road property for the asking price of $5.5 million.
Is there a second?
Second, Sager.
Okay, discussion, please. Mr. Dustling.
I'm against the sale of this property, as there was last time came up. You know, Bradford Allen has put out a great number of sheets that show what they're going to do in the south corridor of Arlington Heights, of which our property is included in their plans. And I believe that that property is too valuable to let go at this time. When we were setting a price or looking at a price last time, we had between the lease and the purchase, we were at about $5.3 million, another $1.8 million in renovation and relocation costs, and most of it was probably renovation. That puts us at about $7.2 million. Seems like anything we set below that is not going to sit well with the community. Also, we have engaged E.O. Sullivan to gain an understanding of what the community wants moving forward. If the community wants something that requires a large piece of property, 2123 would fit that criteria. That piece of property has an entry and an exit onto Arlington Heights Road. It has an entry and an exit onto a street that borders the east side of the property. It's prime property, and Bradford Allen is not, they're not rookies. They've developed most of this area, and it would not hurt us to wait to see what that property, in the larger scale of our total budget, we can hang on to it for a while to see what happens.
Board members.
During the time period where we were relocated from this building or some other building into that one for the administrative offices, while Forest View was undergoing renovation, were there other choices of locations? Does anyone know, maybe Alva, whether there were other choices of locations? And would we have had to pay any rent for any of those other options?
That timing period was prior to my arrival in the district. We were already in that building. Mr. Yulee, I don't know if we evaluated other properties or not, but had we relocated somewhere else, we would have absolutely had to pay rent.
That conversation happened before I was in this role, but I know other options were vetted. That was the decision that was made.
So I understand the concern that Mr. Dustley has about some of the sunk costs of the renovations. However, I think there would have been expenses for that time period if there had been another option employed. And so I am more focused on the initial purchase price in consideration of what kind of price we sell at.
Board members. Mr. Fiorito?
Yeah, I respect what Mr. Board Member Dustling said. It certainly is his opinion that he thinks we might be able to get more money for it. From my perspective, I don't see it adding any value to our school district and our student population. I am concerned with the money that we spend just taking care of the property. I find that to be probably something that's a little bit more wasteful. So I'm of the opinion that I would like to sell the property, take that money and use it for the capital projects that we have coming in. I know it's a small chunk of change, but it's better to have something rather than nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Dr. Sager?
Yeah, so again, I respect Board Member Dustling's opinion on the matter, and I agree with Board Member Baldino that you can't count the entire cost sunk into the property because we've had use of that property for more than 2 years during the renovations of this building. I think that with our large list of things that we want to accomplish in the near term within the district, that we should not be sitting on an asset when we have a need for those funds and we have projects that are ready to go and that we would use that money for immediately, get benefits for the students, get benefits for the staff immediately. And I think it's best to not think of our district. We are not in the real estate investment business. And so holding on to that, hoping to get a higher rate in the future when we have investments to do now is sort of an issue of delayed opportunity, right? If we can sell it now, we can use those funds immediately to benefit students. So I'm in favor of selling it.
Thank you. Dr. Chung?
I'm also in agreement that selling the property is in the district's best interest. Right now, the building is sitting empty, and I think I read, it might not be accurate anymore, but $90,000 a year just in utilities and maintenance. It's money that we can be putting to better use, and at the same time, as was brought up by others, we're looking at millions in facility needs across our high schools, and I think that's where our focus needs to be, on the buildings that are serving our students every day. I could see the argument that maybe it's being a little bit short-sighted, but I do think it is in our long-term best interest not to keep holding on to a property that we don't need right now, especially when it's pulling resources away from our higher priorities.
Thank you. I believe a few years ago, when we decided to renovate this building, was the move over to 2123. And this building took a bit longer to renovate than we had anticipated. And the thought process was, before your time, that we could use it for something else. This is before we found out that we have, this figure is almost 2 years old now, $866 million in renovation cost. And that really kind of changed perspectives for me. And the property was assessed about a year and a half ago for 3.5, and we're setting the price at 5.5. I want you to think about those two numbers. 3.5, it's assessed, and we're setting a price for 5.5. I don't disagree with setting the price at 5.5, but I don't see how we could recoup what we've put in there. It's like selling your house that you put so much money in, and you want to get all your money back. Well, sometimes that just doesn't happen. Things changed over the years. We thought we were just going to be in there for a year. I think we were in there for 2 years, and that's why we went ahead and bought the property. But our needs are for our buildings right now, and I can't see holding on to something and paying utilities for a building that we're not using. And Dr. Rowe has said repeatedly that we have no use for that property, because when we're looking at the 866, which is, again, almost a 2-year-old figure, we've got to show the community that we're really thinking about, okay, how are we going to pay for this? And I think this is a good way. Hearing no more, call the roll, please.
Fiorito?
Yes.
Sager?
Aye.
Baldino?
Yes.
Chung?
Yes.
Dustling?
No.
Heineman?
Aye.
And Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-1.
So you want to talk about the
Before you
process?
move on, I actually would like Dr. Attaway he's got 2 very brief slides, just to walk through and refresh everyone's memory of the process that we will now engage in. Just for the record, we went through it last year, but I want to just highlight so that we're all on the same page about what's to come.
I'm actually going to skip just to the last slide now. So now that the board has set the minimum selling price and adopted the resolution authorizing the sale of the property, we'll move forward and publish the public notice of the sale for 3 consecutive weeks to accept sealed bids for the property. The sale needs to take place within 60 days of adoption of this resolution tonight and must be approved at a public board meeting. So we will be targeting the August 21st board meeting for the final approval of the sale.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, let's see, 1131, motion and a second, please.
Motion to approve, Baldino?
Second, Chung?
Call the roll.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Sager,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. 1132, please. Motion and a second.
So move Fiorito.
Second Chung?
Call the roll.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Sager,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
I just wanted to make a comment. I just want to thank Kate and Dr. Rowe for all these job descriptions that we're getting. Clearly, we're looking at every position within our district, not really the teachers or the support staff, but so many different positions in our district, and basically making sure that what we're asking these people to do and what we need them to do is described in the nth degree. So I applaud you, Kate, and I applaud you, Dr. Rowe, for making sure that, you know, we have positions that we need and they are well-defined. Thank you.
Moving on, 1141, please. Motion and a second, please.
So move, Sager.
Second, Baldino.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Sager,
Aye.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We have one discussion item tonight, 12-1. Is that you, Mr. Yuli?
It's both of us.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Mr. Maggi, please.
Sounds good. So District 214 has taken a deliberate and policy-driven approach to advertising and sponsorships, grounded in the understanding that these are not just donations, but contractual relationships with businesses seeking visibility and a return on investment. Several years ago, the district, along with the Education Foundation, engaged a firm to evaluate the potential market value of high-visibility spaces such as scoreboards, stadiums, windscreens, banners, and gymnasiums. The assessment provided the foundation for what types of sponsorships could be viable, and community appropriate. More recently, the board revised and strengthened policy by creating 3 distinct sections, including a dedicated policy focused exclusively on advertising and sponsorships. The shifts clarified that these partnerships should be managed by the district, not the Education Foundation, or individual schools, ensuring consistency, brand protection, and centralized oversight. Now, with the policy in place, we are potentially taking our first strategic step under this framework. An agreement with the Power Ad Company, a firm that has supported advertising and sponsorship efforts in many Illinois school districts. Under the proposed agreement, Power Ad would recruit and manage relationships with sponsors. They would develop proposed ad content, which the district will have full authority to approve or reject. We retain the right of refusal for anything. The initial focus is on digital signage on our 2 new stadium scoreboards, signs, and some windscreen banners. There's no direct cost to the district, and all revenue will be directed into the Capital Projects Fund, supporting improvements that benefit all schools. Future sponsorship packages could include temporary naming rights if a major sponsor was identified and the board was agreeable to it. Signage on football and indoor gymnasium scoreboards, digital signage on video boards, full-screen video board commercials, and signage in swimming pools. We're also developing administrative procedures to ensure school-based fundraising activities, such as booster-sponsored efforts, continue independently and are not impacted by district-wide initiatives. This is a focused, responsible, and flexible first step in structured sponsorships, aligning with board policy, protecting the district's interests, and opening new funding opportunities to enhance students' experiences across all schools. It'll take some time if we're to move forward to get this up and running, and we're trying to take a deliberate approach.
Anything to add, Chris?
No, it was a partnership between Pat and I think we've been vetting this vendor, or multiple vendors for a few months now, and Power Ad rose to the top because of their work locally with a lot of larger districts in our area in an established footprint. And we're not built necessarily to handle this internally. And so I think this is the approach to partner with Power Ad and take the first step here.
Okay, Mr. Fiorito?
So one question that just came to mind, are we going to set some financial goals for PowerAd? You know, what were our expectations? You know, I'm just going to throw out figures, they're just hypothetical. You know, are we going to say, hey, we're looking at 10 million, we're looking at 5 million?
Yeah, that was part of the work and part of the questions, and we asked, you know, a high and a low end range. I think you have those figures.
Yeah, I mean, the best case scenario in year one, it would be like 275,000.
Okay.
Less
than 5 and 10 million.
Yeah. And then down from there.
Well, and to note, I think, you know, as part of the tours that we've been conducting, we only have 2 video scoreboards currently in the district. And so part of our conversation is we have 4 additional stadium boards that we could look at, along with 6 main gym boards. We have 5 of 6 schools that have the digital scoring tables. So Hersey's the only one without that. So we have limited infrastructure there to get this off the ground, and I think there's an opportunity here to look to invest there to increase our opportunity for revenue.
Interesting.
Thanks, Chris, thanks, Patrick.
Interesting. Anyone else? Anyone else? Dr. Sager?
So what is the obligation on the district's part to supply stuff? We just have to make the spaces available to them? Do we have costs to put up the signs? Like what?
Yeah, our obligation is the installation. And so putting up windscreens is day-to-day responsibility of our CMA teams, as is now. I mean, we have so many windscreens across the district now. So they would create, they would manufacture, they would send it to us with a detailed map and the location of where that windscreen should be installed.
And then we also have the option to potentially print it in-house using Studio 214.
Oh.
And they produce all the digital content, send us the file, we upload it to those digital boards.
I think the value of a partner like this, as we've been talking about this for quite some time internally, and I even mentioned it, you know, in individual conversations with some of you, is we were debating, do we take this on ourselves and hire a part-time person or an employee to do it? But the value add with PowerAd is turnkey. They manage all that. We don't have to have an employee to do it. And we just get to, if we eventually get to the point where we purchase the additional infrastructure, we immediately reap the benefits of the advertisement revenue. The other option is you could certainly go down the road with him, as I did in my prior district with this very company. They purchase the video scoreboard, and after a period of years, they get all the revenue until that is paid for, and then you begin to reap the benefits. So there are avenues that we can go, and Mr. Yuli's got some ideas that will be coming to you down the road, but it makes it a turnkey process where they do the legwork, and then eventually we reap the benefits of the ad revenue.
Anyone else?
One more thing before any other questions, and they're all, of course, welcome. I just want to commend, Chris and Patrick, because they really put a major emphasis on the partner in terms of the control for tasteful advertising and ensuring that anything goes up that we have the ability to control content, but then also we don't want our schools and the surrounding areas to be overwhelmed with advertising images. This will be done in a tasteful manner that is another avenue to support our capital needs with some additional revenue that in a creative way.
Dr. Chung?
I just had one question, and I know this might be too far in the future, but it seems like right now PowerAd is focused on like athletic areas. Is there a possibility down the road for even like our fine arts spaces or career pathways, or do they just focus on?
Yes, because they wanted some level of exclusivity, we boxed that in to basically what you see up on the screen there. And we can engage them in other work around career, if you wanted to, if the board was interested in looking at naming a career pathway or something of that nature.
Ms. Baldino?
I'll just add that I really scrutinized this contract, and I wanted to say thank you for putting such an emphasis on the district maintaining the rights to reject any and all advertising that is put forward by this company. It's really important that we are in control of what is going to be seen by our visitors, our community, our students, and that we don't have to accept advertising that conflicts with the values of the district. So thank you for being thoughtful about that in this contract.
Okay, anyone else? Mr. Dustling?
I might as well step in it again. I'm basically against selling the district or schools for profits, for the dollars. And I understand what you were saying before, Dr. Rowe, about the fact that we're going to control it. We have control of what goes up. We aren't going to lose sight, I would hope, of the fact that we want money, and then we've got signs all over the buildings, and on the buses and on everything else that we got. Because that's goofy. Basically, I'm against selling the district and selling the schools for that reason. The other thing I worry about is, how do we control the equity of which schools get which? Does it, if you go to a company and they want to put something up, do they get to say, okay, we'd like to do this at Prospect, or we'd like to do this at Wheeling? Or is this a district-wide thing? How do we control that fact so that we get an equity through the whole thing? The other thing is, do we have the resources to put all this up, maintain it, and anything that happens is our responsibility, even on our own equipment and property, according to what I've read here. So, any rate, basically I'm against selling it ourselves. I'll see what I can vote on next time.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would just say that the uniqueness of working with our whole team is that we established, with Justin's help, Dr. Attaway's help, the revenue line item in the 60 fund, capital projects. So this is truly a district-managed contract, and all revenue will go into the general 60 account, where then we will determine how we want to allocate those funds. So it's not site-based by any means. It's a district contract.
Having lived in a district that had this, I think what you'll find is individual communities and the businesses that are known for those communities will want to advertise to their market. So for instance, everybody loves Jerosha's Bakery. I would be surprised to not see a Jerosha's Bakery on Elk Grove's video scoreboard sign when the time comes. And it wouldn't make sense for them to advertise in Prospect. So I do believe that we'll see it to be localized to their community. But I think Mr. Yuli's point is well taken, that the revenue goes to the district fund so we can allocate it based on need, regardless of where it comes from.
Okay.
And I guess I would also add, I had just had a meeting with Steve Damhauser, the CMA president today, and broached that very topic about, with him about putting this equipment up, and he had no concern. They'd do it now and taking care of it.
Okay, thank you. That's all the business before the board, so can I have a motion and a second to adjourn?
So moved, Chung.
Second, Heineman.
Call the roll?
Chung,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Baldino,
Yes.
Dustling,
Is that clock right?
Yes.
I was just going to point out,
Yes.
it's 7:59.
Yes.
For the record.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Oh, wait, Dustling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Sager,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye. Meeting
Motion-
adjourned.
Motion carries 7-0.
7:59.